All right, how's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. Nick Marro here with DFS Jayhawk. It's another Nick and Nights at Night stream, for Occupy Fantasy. Trade day, can't talk today. The trade deadline has come and gone. A lot of moving parts. Some teams still waiting for those moving parts to land in their respective cities. We got a little bit of value on this slate, some decent payups, condensed slate, just 6 games on both sites. Both sides choosing to leave off the late games makes it easy for us in terms of breaking things down. Jayhawk, what are your initial takes today going in here?
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy trade deadline, but we finally have a slate to break down here post trade deadline. Lots to talk about. Obviously, we have the Chicago Bulls to talk about, and then I think it's the Jalen Johnson show tonight, so we'll talk about that as well. But fun slate, man.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Jalen Johnson. It's been working out pretty well. Shouts out to Ben getting here. Good evening, my friend HB Cards, as always. See you as well, Heath, getting in here early. Appreciate you guys filing in. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us keep this free content coming out to you on a regular basis. But without further ado, let's get into the game-by-game breakdown. First game on the slate at 7, we have my Nets taking on the Orlando Magic. Nets did make some moves. We brought in Agbaji, not that that's super relevant. Hunter Tyson. We're just taking a bunch of salary dumps from teams because we can. But tonight, no Agbaji. Haywood Highsmith was waived. Tyrese Martin's out. And just need to pour one out here from my boy Cam Thomas. Really unfortunate how this tenure ended with the Nets, man. End of an era. He's no longer with the team. Just waived. They didn't even get a second-round pick for him, which is kind of crazy. Going to be cheering for him wherever he goes. But in today's NBA, if all you can do is score, it's tough to find a roster spot, especially on a team that's rebuilding. So needed to kind of give my little a requiem or, I don't know, soliloquy for Cam Thomas there. But let's get into the Nets here. Honestly, not the best matchup against the Magic. Very low total. They're playing most of their guys tonight. They have been resting players in certain spots. We see MPJ, Damon get rested sometimes. Neither are going to be rested here tonight. I don't mind mixing in some MPJ. Igor Dioman, who I just mentioned, is cheap enough. You can consider him, but at the same time, really not rushing to either of these guys. I will say the usage could go up a little bit. Obviously, with no more Cam Thomas, he was only playing 20 minutes or so, but the usage for him was very high when he was out there. Zaires missed some time. He is back. He's probably, I don't know, borderline viable here. But again, I don't really want to talk anyone into playing Nets. It's the first game on the slate. We have value elsewhere. Not a good matchup. Outside of maybe mixing in MPJ in tournaments, just nothing here for me. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, pretty much co-aligned here with you. MPJ, I think, is fine to mix in both sides here. Pretty good price, okay matchup. Outside of MPJ, not much that really catches my eye here. Maybe Claxton at 1%, but I think we have safer centers, so just mainly MPJ here for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're also looking for a punt, I do think they're going to start Traore next to Igor more and more. Traore more of the true point guard. Igor's kind of a wing that can handle the ball pretty well. So something to keep an eye on. But again, on a big slate like tonight, not even that it's huge. I just don't think we need to go here. Over on the Orlando side of things, we have Franz Wagner out. Other than that, nothing really significant. Paulo, not very popular, obviously has a ceiling. Anthony Black, you can mix in a little bit. He's flashed upside even with Suggs back in the lineup. Suggs, 2 games removed from injury, played 32 minutes, or actually maybe more than that, but we have him for 31 minutes here, only played 24 against OKC. I think at his price, he's playable. At the same time, I do think he's a little bit over-owned. Don't mind mixing him in, but certainly not someone I'm prioritizing if the field's going to be playing him in a quarter of their lineups. I think that's a bit inflated. Bane's fine. Can make a case for Carter Jr. I do think we have better centers on the slate. Even with his price now down below 5K, that is notable. But again, just not a game environment I'm super interested in. Maybe outside of a little bit of Paulo, I think you can mix in Suggs. Just not much here for me from Orlando. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, I think Orlando here as a whole, I'm kind of with you. Suggs, I do feel like is overowned. I love Anthony Black as a pivot here, just a little bit more expensive, but I do like mixing him in tournaments here. And then in terms of Paulo, I think he's fine as a contrarian spend up. I do think we have safer spend ups. So it's mainly the guards here. Wendell Carter, I don't know, man. I think he's just okay. Fine mixing him in at center. But it's mainly the guards here for me, Nick.
Yep. Yeah, feel free to not get very involved in this game if you don't want to. I do like the pivots, though, off of a pretty chalky Suggs. We got Rocket in here now as well. Big Ed Senior, Emma Tar H. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. And our man Luke is in here as well. Again, appreciate you guys being in here. First day off the trade deadline. Speaking of teams that were active at the trade deadline, we got the Washington Wizards here taking on the Detroit Pistons. Wizards, heavy favorites on the road. They went out, they got Trey, they got AD. They're doing things. But they're still going to tank because they have one of the worst records in the league. If you could pair those guys with a top 5 pick, I think it's a pretty smart thing to do. I don't know that we see either Trey Young or AD playing anytime soon for this squad, but they did ship a few guys out for depth. They no longer have Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley. These are all guys that were traded away. Scalabassier is down with the G League. He's not going to be around tonight. So pretty thin rotation, relatively speaking. Bub Carrington going to get the start with Trey Johnson still out. I don't mind getting to him a little bit. Obviously, there's some blowout risk here, but young players like that do tend to get their minutes, even if the game gets a little bit out of hand. Kaishawn George has been playing really well. If this game does stay close, he's probably a big reason for it. Can say the exact same thing for Alexandre Sarr. Justin Champagnie, though, the most popular player here. With Middleton gone, he's probably going to be starting a lot in the near future, starting tonight. Don't mind mixing him in, but again, seeing that he's like as popular as he is, I'm really not all that interested. But again, I think Bub Carrington to me, low owned play, I don't mind mixing in. Other than that, it's tough. I think there's upside for guys like Sarr and George, but I don't know how close this game stays. So probably another spot early I'm comfortable getting away from. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Wizards?
Yeah, I think the Wizards here all kind of seem okay. I do feel like Champagnie is slightly overowned at the ownerships. So Champagnie, I think he's okay. I do prefer other Wizards. The guy that I kind of wanted to shout here is Jameer Watkins, super cheap, 9% owned. I do kind of like mixing him in if we do think this game gets out of hands off the bench here. You can always get to Bub Carrington, like you mentioned. So I think it's more of the younger guys I want to target here, potentially off the bench, assuming this game does get out of hand.
Yeah, Watkins is someone who'd see more run in a blowout. We have him at 23 minutes. That number could definitely go up if Detroit can pull ahead early. Will Riley would be the second player in line. I know we're seeing some ownership going to guys like Vucevic, but I do think Riley would be more interesting. But again, it really just tough to get to a game like this on a big slate, or a big enough slate, rather. Over on the Detroit side of things, they made a few moves of their own, nothing too major. Kevin Huerter, now a Detroit Piston. He will be available. Jaden Ivey, no longer with the team. He's on the Bulls. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But we have Cade and Tobias Harris questionable. Denise Jenkins, the normal backup at point guard, is out. So if Cade were to sit, I think we're going to see Marcus Sasser getting the nod at the one. So definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Usually we love to play Jenkins whenever Cade is out, but Jenkins is down with the G League team. So that won't be happening here tonight. Jalen Duren is fine. Definitely a spot where you can play him. If Harris is out, I don't mind getting to a little bit of Oscar Thompson. The minutes for him are inconsistent, but you would think he'd be on the floor more, again, if Cade is out. But right now, don't mind Cade, don't mind Duren. But again, if Cade is out, keep an eye on the starting lineup. I think it would be Sasser to get the nod with Jenkins down with the G League team. Definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Good news is it is one of the first games to lock on the slate, so we will have that news before the slate starts. But Jayhawk, go ahead and let us know how you feel about these Pistons here.
Yeah, pretty much with you here. I love Jalen Duren. Very good matchup, I think, for him in this spot. So love getting to Duren both sides here. Cade, if he does play, I think looks great up top. And then after those two, I think Tobias is fine to mix in. Good price point. We don't have a lot of value today, so I like mixing in Tobias. And then, yeah, if Cade does sit, I'm with you. I think both, without Jenkins down in the G League, I think both Duncan and who did you mention? I forgot the other guard.
Jenkins, Ivy's traded away. He usually gets starts at point guard. Jenkins is with the G League, so it's going to be Sasser.
I forgot his name, yeah. Marcus Sasser. I think he'd look great as well, Nick. I love that shot.
Yep. And I will say this as well. If both Cade and Harris are out, keep an eye on Isaiah Stewart. They could go big here if he slides into the starting lineup. He's had some big games when they're thin this season. It is a very soft matchup. So as a starter, I wouldn't mind mixing him in. But again, if Cade plays, Cade Durant, that's pretty much it. If he's out, keep an eye on the lineup. Things could change rather quickly. Sasser would be the value play you want to key in on. Speaking of the Bulls and Jaden Ivey, shouts out Boyle. I believe he put him on the cover here today. The Bulls, really a new look squad now. No more Ayo Dosunmu. He's out of the picture. Giddy's still around, but he's out injured. They're bringing in Jaden Ivey, or as Pistons fans were calling him, Poison Ivy, projected to start at point guard here. Still no Trey Jones. Colin Sexton is questionable. He is now a part of this team, but the trade is still pending for him, so I don't know that he'll be available. But we do have Ivy in for sure. And Anthony Simons, part of that Vucevic trade, should be available here as well. Going to be interesting to see what the starting lineup looks like. I will say Yuki Kawamura had been playing really well over the past few games with a lot of these guys out. If the trade has not yet gone through for Colin Sexton, I think he's a really interesting piece of value off the bench. Again, no more Herder, no more Ayo, no more Vooch. This is a very different looking team. But if the starting lineup is going to be Ivy, Simons, Okoro, Buzelis, Smith, we talked a little bit pre-stream. I think Buzelis would be the safest of that group, followed by Simons, then Ivy, but they're all getting a ton of love. And again, I know I'm spending a lot of time on the Bulls here. It's very important, though. They're going to be running a short rotation regardless of whether or not Sexton is available. Seeing a ton of ownership going to this team. Buzelis is kind of a core play for me. Jalen Smith, if we trust that he's going to play 30 minutes, I think is really solid here. It's just he hasn't played 30 across his last 3 games. So it's tough to really project him there. But other than that, man, I think we have to kind of wait and see, unfortunately. But definitely a team we're going to be getting to a lot of. But again, it's just tough for me to really flag plant until we see that starting lineup. How do you feel about the Bulls?
Yeah, first of all, Nick, great game here overall, both sides of the ball. But starting with Chicago, like you mentioned, we're going to have to wait and see with starters here. I think Matas, like you mentioned, the top core play here, both sides. So I love Matas here. And then whoever starts, Ivy, Simons, even Sexton potentially if he's in, I'm going to really like here. I do want to address, I think Sexton, even if he comes off the bench, should have a pretty high usage rate. So I do like him a lot if he is in. Yeah, and then shout out to Eric. Yuki, he's liked him about the last couple of slates. He's been nuking. So I think he's going to look great as well if some of these guys miss, like you mentioned.
Yeah, Yuki, he was a spark plug for Memphis as the last guy off their bench. He's been getting more minutes and doing a lot with them. So again, keep an eye on the lineup. They should have Simons and Ivy and Sexton available, but none of that is guaranteed. So again, kind of wait and see there. But if you're playing a lot of Chicago, you could obviously move things around. On the other side of the ball here, we have the Toronto Raptors. RJ Barrett's going to be out. Other than that, nothing too significant. We did just get word that Podol is hopeful to be back before the All-Star break. He is not back tonight, though. So we're going to see Colin Murray Boyles likely getting the start here. They did trade away Agbaji. Not that he was a huge piece of this team. But what that means is we're probably going to see Jacoby Walter starting at the 2 here with no RJ Barrett. I really don't have much interest in Walter. I know he's getting some love on DK. But what this does is it boosts the upside of Ingram, quickly Barnes. Those 3 look pretty good on both sides here in a very soft matchup. Spread not as wide as I think many would expect. So if this game stays competitive, having one of Barnes, Ingram more quickly in lineups does make a lot of sense. You could maybe play some Murray Boyles as the starting center. I'm not crazy about it, especially when they don't need to play big against these Bulls. But you can mix him in. Sandro off the bench is fine. But again, it's mostly just Barnes, Ingram quickly for me in that order. They all look great here. Very soft matchup with no RJ Barrett. Jayhawk, how do you feel about Toronto?
Yeah, great breakdown there. It's mainly the Scotty show for me tonight. I love him both sides, but I think you can always get to Ingram more quickly as well. So give me a bunch of Scotty tonight. Fine mixing in the other 2. And then it is a good spot for the bigs, I think, here for Toronto. But like you mentioned, they could run small, so a little bit unsafe there for minutes for the bigs here. So pretty much on the same page here, Nick.
Yep. Let's hit chat real quick. Rocket saying he agrees with me on Cam T pouring out for the bucket. Yeah, we'll see where he ends up. Some team's going to sign him. He'll end up a good 6-man. Is K the top pay up on the slate if he plays? No for me. I think it's Jalen Johnson. Jayhawk, I think you agree?
Yeah, Jalen Johnson for me as well.
Yeah, Rocket mentioning it would be Sasser for Cade if he's out. James bringing up a name on the Bulls that I don't really see myself playing in Olbrich. He would be the backup center here, but again, I don't think they need to play big. It would take a lot for me to get to Olbrich. I don't think I need to tonight. Jayhawk, any love from you there?
Yeah, I don't think we need to get that deep for value. We have a bunch of decent value.
And No, I agree. If it was a bigger team, I'd have some interest. Patrick Williams' name also got brought up here. He, I think, is more interesting than an Ulbrich coming off the bench. 4,100 for him on DK, 42 on FanDuel. He's like the vet on this team now, which is kind of crazy to say. I remember when he was one of the younger players. I don't love him in terms of talent, but I do think that he could play 30 plus minutes, whether he starts or not. So if you want to mix in some Williams, I don't mind it. Not something I'm forcing, but I would be playing him over Ulbrich. Any love for you or Jayhawk when it comes to Patrick Williams?
Yeah, I think he's pretty solid. Like as of right now, I think he's way better. If we do get more value to open up later in the day here, potentially no, but I think right now he's pretty good.
Yep, right there with you, man. Let's keep it rolling. Speaking of which, Rocket saying, looks like no love for Utah. Maybe we can count on Nurk playing. Let's talk about the Jazz here. So no Lonzo Ball, who they traded for. I don't even know if they're going to keep him around or they waive him. Keontae George is out. Jaren Jackson, who I actually think is a great ad for this team, is out. They're probably going to try to rest him a lot, similar to AD in Washington. They're still tanking. Walker Kessler's out. No John Conchar. Kevin Love listed as questionable. I believe we just got word that he's out. And they did acquire Vince Williams in that Triple J deal. He is going to be out here with his trade pending as well. So it's another night of a pretty short rotation here for the Jazz. It's not a terrible matchup. First guy we need to bring up is Isaiah Collier. With no Keontae George, he's a play regardless. But coming off a ridiculous game, I think he played every single minute. Yeah, 48 minutes against the Pacers, had 22 assists. Can he replicate that tonight? Probably not. No, but still, I do think at his price, he's one of the more obvious plays on this slate. Definitely want to get to a lot of him. He's chalky. I think it's good chalk. After him, Laurie's interesting. It was weird. They didn't let him close, which was kind of frustrating. Only played 26 minutes. I think you could still play him here. It is a bit concerning that they took him off the floor and he didn't come back in. Maybe, again, this is part of them tanking. So the minutes are a little bit dicey there. I do think he's a good play regardless. Better play if Nurkic sits. So Nurkic, never on the injury report, not even questionable. But if he is not in the starting lineup, do not play him. Play Kyle Filipowski instead. But if Nurkic starts, this is a good matchup here. We'll talk about some inactives for the Hawks in just a minute. You can mix in Bailey. You can mix in Sensabaugh. For me, the obvious play here is Collier. I think Laurie is okay, but kind of risky given the minutes. And if Nurk's in, I like him. If he's out, though, Filipowski's the guy I'm going to be getting to. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Jazz here?
Yeah, Nick, are we witnessing the second coming of John Stockton here? Isaiah Collier, both sides. I think he looks fantastic. Again, I don't know if we can project him for 48 minutes like he played last game, but I think at least 38 to 40 here in a close game. So love Collier. Outside of him, I'm fine taking stabs at guys like Ace, Laurie, but I don't love them. I think their minutes are a little bit less secure. And then, if Nurkic doesn't play again, fire up Filipowski. Essentially unowned. He should look really good at the 5. So, yeah, great breakdown. I pretty much agree here.
Yep, right there with you, man. But again, guys, keep an eye on the starting lineup. If Nurkic is in, play him. He's a good center play. But if he doesn't start, he's probably getting DNP'd, in which case you'd want to get to some Filipowski. On the Atlanta side of things, another team that made some moves. Let's see here. Luke Kennard is out. Okongwu is out. That was a late ad. Porzingis, now a Golden State Warrior, is not with the team. He's going to be out. They did trade for Kuminga. He's not going to be available. Duwop Reith is out. He's not yet with the team. Definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Right now, Jalen Johnson, my favorite play on the slate. I think anywhere you can afford him, he's absolutely tremendous. Kind of matchup dependent lately as the guy in Atlanta, but he's been beasting back-to-back games over 60 fantasy points. Back home here tonight with a lot of guys out. I think he looks excellent. Should see increased rebounding with no Okongwu on the floor. I think we're either going to see Koloko or Gouye getting the start here. I don't have a ton of interest in either. I know Mohamed Gouye has been playing well enough for his price, but the minutes for him tend to fluctuate. The prices come up on him to a point now as well, where I'm just really not rushing to get there. But I will say this. If he starts, you want to play him, it's fine. It's just not the type of player I'm ever too intrigued by. McCollum, he's been fine. You can get to Daniels or Alexander Walker. Just mix those three in. Really tough to prioritize one over the other, especially considering we are loading up on Jalen Johnson tonight. Again, my favorite play on the slate. Absolutely love him here. That's probably it for me, though, as far as priorities from Atlanta go, which is kind of tough to say because the total here is excellent, 244.5 points. Very soft matchup defensively. Which Atlanta Hawks are you getting to, Jayhawk?
Yeah, it's once again the Jalen Johnson show, Nick. The ownership still doesn't make sense to me. I think you should be higher, closer to 40-50%. So, going to jam Jalen here once again. And then Nickel Walker, I did want to mention him. No Conway here, maybe more shot attempts. So, like Nickel a lot, both sides. And then Dyson Daniels, he's been very good, obviously, from the defensive stand, but he's been very bad offensively. I think he's fine to take stabs at. And then CJ McCollum, I don't know if this is the hot take. I don't really love him tonight. Rather get to Dyson, I think. So CJ, I'm a little bit lower on than the field overall here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty neutral about all three. Like, I think one of the three is going to outplay the others. CJ is the cheapest, so I think just getting to him for that reason makes some sense. But I do agree. If you could find the salary to get to Alexander Walker or Daniels, I do think they have higher ceilings. I did want to bring this up, too. Not that you needed more reasons to play Jalen Johnson. Last time he played the Utah Jazz, he had the best game of his young NBA career. 40 minutes, 92 fantasy points that night, 31, 18, 14 in a triple double. I believe he had 7 stocks as well. Are we going to get 92 from Jalen here? No. Do we need 92? No. But if there was ever an obvious pay up, I think tonight Jalen Johnson is that guy again. No Porzingis, no more Trae Young. McCollum playing limited minutes off the bench. No Okongwu tonight. He just checks all the boxes in the world. I would bet him to hit a triple double here. I'm probably going to look to hit some of his PRA stuff. Love Jalen Johnson tonight, man. He's the guy. Going to be building around him aggressively. But I'm with you. I do think the guards are worth mixing in here as well. The total is just tremendous in terms of game environment. Before we get back to chat, let's knock out another game here in the 8 o'clock window. We have the Charlotte Hornets, who've been playing really well lately, taking on the Houston Rockets. Hornets, they went out and they got Kobe White. Pretty interesting move for them. They're already pretty guard heavy. He is not yet available or with the team. I believe they have Mike Conley as well. I don't know if they waived him. Tyus Jones. They're just loading up on guards for whatever reason. Maybe they want some of these vets to come in and help coach up LaMelo Ball, make him the player he's certainly capable of being. But tonight, none of those guys available. No KJ Simpson either. Salulin's questionable. Not that he's been a big part of this rotation. Other than that, nothing we really need to talk through. Again, the starting lineup of Ball, Knuppel, Miller, Bridges, Diabate has been excellent. I think they're like 12-2 or 10-2, something like that. You can make a case for LaMelo now. I know it's been a while, but he's been pushing 30 minutes like tonight. I don't love the matchup. I don't love the price. I don't love the minutes cap, but I do think as long as he's going to be 8K or sub 8K, he's worth mixing in tournaments. Brandon Miller has been the most consistent of this group in terms of hitting his ceiling. I really like him a lot, playing 34-plus minutes in competitive matchups. I'm a huge fan of Knuppel. The price is up on him, a little bit more scoring dependent. Don't mind mixing him in. I would rank all 4 of these guys ahead of Miles Bridges, who's been kind of hit or miss lately. But Bridges himself is fine. Just, again, keep in mind, this is not a good matchup against the Houston Rockets, but they've been playing so well. I think they can keep this game competitive. Then we have Diabate at center, a little bit inconsistent, but again, the ceiling's there for his price, 5,200 over on DK, 55 on FanDuel. He's had some big games when the Hornets are winning or keeping things close. Coming off a terrible showing against the Pelicans, where he had a 3.7% usage rate. I'm thinking we see a better version of Diabate tonight in a spot for a potential bounce back. But earlier in the year, this would not be a spot I'd be looking to the Hornets much, but they are playing really well right now, Jayhawk. Are you interested in any of these Charlotte players?
Yeah, pretty much on the same page. LaMelo Ball, I think he's perfectly fine as a GPP play here. Don't love the matchup, but price point and minutes kind of have upticked here, so fine with LaMelo. Diabate, I don't love here. I don't love the spot against Sengun in the front court. I might be a little bit underweight to him at center. And then Brandon Miller, kind of similar to LaMelo, just plays a crap ton of minutes, shoots the ball a ton. So fine mixing in him as well. So it's LaMelo, it's Miller. That's about it here for me, Nick, for Charlotte.
Yeah, Diabate is tough. I mean, the floor is very low for him. I do think he has enough upside to mix him in at his price, but no real core play from Charlotte. Again, 218.5 point total here. Moving over to Houston, Tari Eason is questionable. He's been playing really well starting at the 2. If he's out, I think we're probably going to see, I don't know, a Kogi slide into the starting lineup. Wouldn't really change all that much. Reed Shepherd, as talented as he is, the minutes have been shaky off the bench, so it's tough for me to get there. The players I'm interested are the obvious: Sengun, Thompson, Durant. I think Sengun and Durant are most appealing, again, because we have a lot of good guards on this slate. Durant, probably my favorite, slightly over Sengun, just because of the positionality. Obviously, a little bit more difficult to fill those forward positions than it is the centers. But Jabari Smith getting completely overlooked, especially on FanDuel where he's only 6,100. If Eason's out, I do think Jabari Smith becomes much more appealing than he is currently. But yeah, I think all the starters make sense unless a Kogi slides in. How do you feel about Houston here?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Nick. Houston only a 111 team total here. Pretty good matchup, I think, overall. So I think that's kind of why the ownerships are kind of lower here for all the studs. I think for me, it probably would be one of Amon or Sengun in tournaments. I'm fine with KD. Just do kind of prefer the other two. So I'm fine to mix in all three of them. Don't really have a hot take here. So yeah, mixing in a little bit of all three. But other than that, not much I love here from Houston.
Yeah, again, two good teams in a competitive matchup, but they're two good defensive teams, which is going to kind of keep the upside in check unless this game were to hit OT. Let's take a quick look at chat. Then I think we have one more game. A lot of Brooke Lopez slander in here. I'm guessing he was a dud the other night. That's my guy. Nets all-time leading scorer, Splash Mountain Brooke Lopez. He's going to be taking a lot more of those threes now that Zubac is traded away. But I don't think we have to dig too deep into him tonight. Yeah, more Brolo hate here, unfortunately. Look how they massacre my boy. We got Unicorn in here. Appreciate you, my man. GPP message from Chris Robb. What we got here? Kalkbrenner, Zaire, and Suggs. Don't like that group. Wendell Carter, Ace, and Ivy. Definitely the second group for me with a bullet. Jayhawk, how do you feel about that 3 for 3 there?
Yeah, definitely not the first one. I'm with you, Nick. Definitely in the second option there.
Yep. Rockets miss big Steven Adams. Defense ain't the same. It's true. Sengun is talented as he is. Definitely more of an offensive center. Shouts out to Power, keeping us informed with the news. Nurk is doubtful. So again, Filipowski going to look like a really good center play here. Simons, Ivy, Yabi, McClung. Shouts out to Dunk Champ. He is now a Chicago Bull as well. Maybe just in time for the All-Star break. He's available. But yeah, I think you could play Ivy, Simons. Keep an eye on the starting lineup. Whoever starts is going to be the most interesting. Yabusele, did they get him as well? I don't really have much interest in him. I'd rather be playing Buzelis or what's his name, Patrick Williams. Yeah, Vooch to the Celts, pretty interesting move. Hurts the defense in a big way, helps the offensive rebounding, helps the scoring. So we'll see what happens there. Best center play on the slate. Quickly pulling this up. I mean, Filipowski now is going to look excellent. He's one of my favorites. Who are your favorite centers, Jayhawk? And then I'll counter with a couple while I look through here.
I love Jalen Duren tonight, both sides. He seems a little bit under-owned in this spot, and then Jalen Smith could be better. I'm just worried about the minutes there, but if he does play full minutes, he looks pretty solid. Did you have any other guys who you like?
No, I mean, Filipowski is going to definitely be my guy. I agree with you on Duren. I think Sarr in that same game, though, if it were to stay close, at much lower ownership, we've seen them match up and both play really well before, so I don't mind mixing in some Sarr. A little bit confused by the Vucevic ownership, if I'm being honest, against Detroit. I guess you could mix him in. But yeah, I think it's mostly going to be Filipowski for me here, even with the forward eligibility. How many Utah guys is too many? I mean, they're not as thin as they were the other night. I'd say 3 is probably a good sweet spot. You definitely want Collier, definitely want some Filipowski then. Other than that, I don't think there's any must. Jayhawk, how many Jazz do you find yourself playing in most lineups?
Yeah, it's definitely not even close to a jam, I don't think, Nick. So I'd probably be fine with 3, but I don't even know if I'll get to 3 in a lot of my lineups. So, yeah.
Put aside salary, Luka or Jalen J. Luka's not on the slate, so it's Jalen J for me. I mean, I don't know. If Reeves is in, I think it would be Jalen Johnson. If Reeves is out, I think it would have to be Luka. But again, Luka's not on the slate, so I'm hoping you don't have to answer that one, Rocket. But yeah, do you have a preference there, man? I can check the model quick. I think we still have an OF score for Luka, even though he's not available here.
I think Jalen just beats him outright. Even I'll take the points.
Yeah, wherever Rocket's playing, he's got both of them. Yeah, I do prefer Jalen. I just love the matchup, but the model has Luka a touch higher, very, very slightly. But again, we're so bullish on Jalen Johnson. Let's just plant that flag in the ground, assuming Austin Reeves plays a few more minutes. But we have one more game to knock out here. 8:30 window. We have the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Spurs, Dylan Harper, questionable. He missed last game. Kelly Olynyk missed last game as well. He is out. Kind of shocked that Jeremy Sochan didn't get traded today. He's out. No Luke Cornett. Other than that, nothing too significant we really need to talk to. If Harper's out, it is going to provide a boost to both Castle and Fox. Wouldn't mind mixing them in. It is a back-to-back here, so keep that in mind. Wemby is difficult to project right now. I played 28 minutes last night, front end of a back-to-back. He has been playing back-to-backs. I don't think you can expect him to play 30 minutes. We have him at 29.7. I think that's fair. If you want to mix him in, fine. Obviously, we have Jalen Johnson on the slate, who I much prefer, but it is a good matchup for him. Again, if we were going to get 34-plus minutes, I'd be beating the drum of playing Wembanyama here. It's a great matchup, but back-to-back, I just don't think we can necessarily count on that. Other than that, really not much here for me when it comes to the Spurs. We're seeing Keldon getting love on FanDuel. Minutes for him have been all over the place. Vassal's back. The minutes for him have been all over the place. Just a tough team to really want to play. It is a good matchup, but outside of maybe the guards, Fox, Castle, I don't have a ton of interest. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, I think San Antonio just looks just okay here to me. Stephon Castle, I thought was super interesting. Just that the ownership seems a little bit higher than I expected. So I'm fine with that. I'll probably match the field there. Wemby, I don't love here tonight on a back-to-back. It's a good matchup, but I'd rather get to Jalen. Yeah, so I'm fine mixing him in. De'Aaron Fox, 3%. I actually do kind of like the pivot there to Castle. Big ownership gap. So give me Fox a little bit more in tournaments, I think, at the ownerships. So, yeah, I think
I'm
that's
with
pretty
you.
much it.
Fox has been better lately. He's been a bit more aggressive, which we obviously love to see. Over on the Dallas side of things, AD is now traded away. Jaden Hardy, Kyrie Irving, both out. Miles Kelly's probable. Nemhard's probable. D'Lo out. He's been traded away. PJ Washington's out. Brandon Williams, questionable. Few other names here, G Leaguers. Really kind of tough to make sense of this injury report. I don't know why they have new players and guys who aren't on the team with the team on the injury report. It just makes things very difficult for me as the host. Is what it is, though. Not the best matchup here. Vegas does have this game staying relatively competitive. Cooper Flag has been an absolute beast. 3 straight games now where he's around 60-plus fantasy points. Earlier in the year, we kind of said we don't want him to be playing the point guard, but he's leveled up. And now I am totally comfortable playing Cooper Flag regardless of the position. I really don't like the FanDuel price, but on DK at 8,700, I think if you're looking to get different or if you're looking for another guy to pay up for with Jalen Johnson, Cooper to me, really, really interesting play here. We have him at a 12.0 OF index rating. Again, he's been outstanding. Really, really like him. And I hope he can keep it up. Other than him, it's tough, but with no PJ Washington, some of these other guys out, I do think Max Christie is fine to mix in a little bit, very scoring dependent. Najee Marshall, same exact thing. Caleb Martin has been productive as a starter on the wing here. I don't trust him, but it's like a last piece in. If you're waiting for some news to break or the lineups don't really come out the way you want them to, I do think using Caleb Martin as a value piece isn't the worst thing in the world. He probably gets you 20 to 25 fantasy points. If Williams is in, even coming off the bench, you could play him a little bit. But again, I like Flag more so just on DK. I think you could mix in Marshall and Christie with Washington out, but neither are going to be priorities for me. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Mavs?
Yeah, your boy Nick Cooper Flag, I love here once again. Good price point. He's been balling out, man, for Dallas. So love Cooper Flag in tournaments. Najee Marshall, I think he's fine. I don't love the ownership here. Would rather just get the Flag, I think. And then for the rest of the team, B Will is back here, 5,200. I always like B Will, so I'm fine mixing him in tournaments. And then that's about it here. Just give me Cooper Flag, some B Will. I think it's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Spurs, obviously the better team, but it is a back-to-back. They're missing a few pieces. They had to travel to Dallas on the back-to-back, so it's a tough spot. I think hopefully this game is competitive here. Rocket doing the all-day slate. Nurkic, doubtful anywhere. Yeah, I believe that news did come through. We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, if Nurkic is starting, you'll know you can play him. If he's not, just don't. How many Bulls in one lineup for DraftKings? This one's difficult, Jim. And Jayhawk and I did talk about this a little bit pre-stream. That lineup's not out yet, is it? The Bulls?
No, not yet.
Yeah, because it's the first game for a lot of these guys that we would be playing. Like, I think Ivy is going to start next to Simons. We don't even have Simons in the model right now. We did just get word that Sexton won't be making his debut. So, I don't know. I think you can have 3. At the same time, it's tough to project their minutes. I've been capped around 20 to 25 with the Pistons. If they lift that cap, he has a very high ceiling. Same with Simons. I mean, obviously he's been coming off the bench, but his usage and bench should shoot up here now that the Bulls pretty much have nobody. And I think Yuki, even coming off the bench, is going to be one of the better value plays. So I think you could have three Bulls, and you could have three Jazz, and maybe from there you have Jalen Johnson. So we're kind of building the lineup out loud. How many Bulls are you going to be comfortable with here, Jayhawk?
Man, I think at least three I'm okay with, especially with Sexton now confirmed out. Should open up the guards more as well. So I think at least three is okay here.
Yep. Brian Walker saying Simon's play, he's healthy now, sort of waters down Chicago. It does, but Chicago's missing Herder. He's traded away. Ayo's traded away. Vooch is traded away. Giddy's still out. Kobe White is traded away. So while you're kind of right, I don't think it matters. It's like he's watering down a team that has nothing really left. So it is what it is. RotoWire doesn't have him listed as a starter, but they did earlier. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that news, guys. Obviously, we want the confirmation from Underdog, but it sounds like Nurk isn't going to be going. Again, if Filipowski starts at the 5, just play him. Yeah, Rocket, if Ty Jerome can score a jillion fantasy points in 20 minutes, then Austin Reeves got to be good for 2 jillion, right? I would say no because the usage for Ty Jerome has been through the roof. Reeves is out there with Luka and LeBron a lot, which kind of caps his upside. So not so crazy about that one. Yabu's in for Chicago too. Again, I'd rather play Patrick Williams. I don't even like Patrick Williams, but until Yabu gets consistent minutes, I just don't necessarily want to take that risk. Jayhawk, any thoughts on those last few items? We got some Austin Reeves talk, some Yabu talk. I don't think I'm interested in either.
Yeah, no, Reeves, I don't think he's going for 2 jillion points off the bench. So,
yeah, and just a little bonus here for you guys. I'll take a quick look. We have him for 23 minutes tonight, so pushing AK. Ty Jerome was 5,500 on DK last night. I know I pumped him as a play, and I'm glad it worked out, but you can fail when you're not playing a lot of minutes. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, man. I think we're going to start with
Jalen.
I mean, we got Utah and Chicago, right? I think Utah Collier is obvious. Assuming he starts at center, and I hate to assume, we have Filipowski, who is power forward only. Let's go ahead and get him in there. And then we jump over to Chicago. I don't know. I think Ivy for sure. Do you want to play Simons, or would you rather go with Yuki, or is there any other Bulls? I know you like Matas as well, right?
Yeah, I like Matas. What is Simons' price? I haven't even looked at his
5K flat.
Oh man, yeah, I'd rather go Ivy. I think at 4K, it's a little bit safer.
Yeah. So do you want Buzelis, or should we just come back to them? Or
let's plug in Jalen for now, and then let's see after that if we can fit in Matas.
Okay. Yeah. The thing with Jalen is just the minutes. If he's going to play normal minutes, I do like him a lot. Let's get our pay-ups in.
I was saying Jalen Johnson. Sorry.
Oh, you meant Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, Jalen Smith, I do like him. I'm a fan, but yeah, kind of tough to get there. Okay, so we got Jalen Johnson in. We're left with 5,500 per. Small forward. Let's see. I don't mind Miller if we're paying up. I don't know that I want to pay up, though. I mean, I'm not going to go Champagne on this slate.
Small forward's difficult, man.
Is Yuki? He's point guard only. That's kind of annoying. I don't hate it, though. Let me just pull up this game log real quick. 20-plus fantasy points back-to-back games. I still think he's involved, but I can't say he's safe. Peter asking about LeVert, man. The minutes have just been so inconsistent for him. I would say if Cade's out, yes. If Cade's in, probably can't do it. You have any love for LeVert tonight?
No LeVert for me. That would change, I think, a little bit if Cade misses.
Yeah, and keep in mind they did add Herder there, and I think they're going to be giving Herder more minutes than Ivy was seeing, which could affect LeVert a little bit. And I'm a fan of LeVert. But yeah, it's just the minutes off the bench have been pretty inconsistent. It would take Harris or Cade being out to get there. Throw some names at me, man. I mean, I'm looking at center right now. We already have Filipowski. We both like Duren.
Yeah.
We're paying.
I like him, Duren. I was trying to think who else. I was trying to figure out who to plug in at small forward, Nick. I was scrolling through. It's very, very difficult.
Small forward's always gross on
PK.
Like, every day. I feel like I'm saying the same stuff.
We could go Watkins. We could go Watkins as a punt down there.
I mean, Flag is a small forward. He's pretty damn expensive, though. We got Najee Marshall. Man, it's ugly.
Yeah.
Most popular small forward is Najee Marshall.
We can plug him in for now. I think he's fine if we can fit him in there.
Yeah, obviously we prefer to get the flag if you have the salary. I mean, 8,700 isn't bad at all, but for the sake of the build here, let's go Marshall so we don't get too gross elsewhere. All right, center now. I mean, if Gouye starts for Atlanta, he's going to get some love. I don't think it's crazy. Filipowski's my guy, but he's forward only. Um, Diabate's risky. I don't know. Are we going to Durant and playing value everywhere else?
Yeah, let's see if we can, Nick. I know we have the Yaakov Murr on Chicago. We could plug in for value in the
Yeah,
guards,
yeah,
but
and we need the value. Let's go ahead and throw Yuki in there. Then we're left with 4,500 for a utility. Um, let's see. We got my boy Igor. I don't think it's crazy. Also, don't want to do it. If Stewart starts and we have Tobias out, I don't think he's a terrible play. Not really eager to get there. If Gouye starts at center, he's kind of a guy. It's a lot of wait and see here as far as utility goes. I said Martin if you don't get the news to break your way. Was there anyone at this price you liked, dude? I mean, we're kind of in a rough area.
what was I know you mentioned Sasser Cates. What's his price on DK? Is he super cheap?
It's got to be like 36. 30K flat. He would be
That
the
could be a
guy.
good play. Yeah. So that'll be a smash value play if Cates misses.
Yeah, yeah. If Sasser starts, he's a no-brainer. Let's do this. I think we got to downgrade either Marshall or Duren. Small forward's so bad though. Like, um, God, I just hate it. I think we got to go like Thompson for Detroit, something like that. That leaves us with 5-3. I
Yeah,
don't know.
something like that. Gives us.
Yeah, then you could play maybe like Diabates here. Something like this isn't terrible. Again, hopefully we get that Sasser news. You can just play him. You can keep Marshall. You could upgrade that utility. Kind of tricky build today, I will say.
It
Over
is.
on FanDuel, let's do the same obvious plays. We're going to get Collier in here. We're going to get Kyle Filipowski in here. We're probably going to get Ivy.
Let's get Cooper Flag for you, Nick, in here on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, he's more expensive here, but for the sake of the brand, let's go ahead and throw him in. Center over here. Eh. We have someone in chat mentioning Carter Jr. It's not the worst play. Don't necessarily love it, though. Who's popular in center? Building's a little tougher today than I thought it would be. Got to refresh the model. Duren is going to be the chalk. With the Kongu out, I do think we're going to see Gouye's first go up. Hold on. They're giving flag. No, never mind. I was like, why is Cooper Flag showing up here? He's center eligibility. Ignore that.
Yeah, I
Man,
think
I guess I get why some of these cheap guys are getting ownership. Center is pretty thin.
yeah. Let's just plug in. I don't know. We can go Duran. I mean, that's just
Or
the
we could do this. We could put Filipowski at center.
okay.
Which is not something we usually do, put a power forward at center, but I do think power forward's deeper. Again, I like Jabari Smith, especially if Easton's out. You go ahead and throw him in there. I mean, Patrick Williams for value, I don't think is crazy. And then we're in like the 7K range. We're still going to want to jam Jalen Johnson, I think, if we can. It's going to force us to go cheap. Again, I'm ripping through, man, because I know we made bad time. I don't mean to just like
I know you're good.
go over you here. I know you don't mind, though. I don't know. Simons, do we want to try Anthony?
Sure. Yeah.
We'll throw him in, and then we're left with 5,900 for a small forward. Hopefully, it's not a nightmare. I mean, Ace Bailey, okay.
Yeah.
Sensabaugh, it's not insane. We're close, guys. We're getting there. Yeah, Unicorn saying that he likes to run at center. I tend to agree. Collier for 30 dimes. I mean, 22 last game. He's gonna have to really get going early to hit that, but really like him there. Nurk won't start per Coach Hardy, so just don't play him, guys. Filipowski's the guy tonight once again. Jayhawk, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, let's do it. Utah, Atlanta. Let's crush with those two teams, and let's get it tonight, guys.
Yeah, guys, as always, keep an eye on not only injury news, but also lineups this time of year. Some strange things happening, obviously, with the trade deadline just passing. Nice condensed slate tonight, though. Let's crush it. Hope to see you in the Discord. Like and subscribe on your way out. Have fun. Take care, and good luck.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Cade is